Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to BeamNG, and today we're going to be continuing to go through Phompsonby's contributions to the early centuries of, vehicles. So we looked at the early rise of Phompsonby, and we're going to look at what is essentially the golden age of Phompsonby, which is the 1920s to the 1930s, so essentially stretching from, well, shortly after the end of the war, so 1920. Yeah, it's the 20s. So from 1920s all the way to the stock market crash of 1929 and the Big Sad, which hit America far more than it did in England. However, England was still affected, and that still plays into the Phompsonby story. So, we're going to be looking at the 1920s vehicles of Phompsonby. If you're not already caught up with Phompsonby, Phompsonby is a company that I created in automation. However, due to problems with me actually running BeamNG, I wasn't able to show the various Phompsonby vehicles that I'd made until a BeamNG update has come along and vastly improved the running capabilities of this on my computer. Optimization, I keep forgetting that word. So Phompsonby has been shown previously in Sprocket videos. However, here are some of the original Phompsonby designs that I made in automation all of those years ago. So we're going to be looking at some of Phompsonby's 1920s designs. So what we've got here is not the Mark III, we're going to be looking at the Mark II, because the Mark II is actually from the correct period that we're looking at here. So, the Mark II family. What is it? It's the second version of the family. What do you expect? Same colour scheme, gold, black, dark red highlightings I should say. More storage on the back again, spare wheel. New design, sleeker, better looking. None of the lights on the side, sort of type dealio from the early years. New bumper. Still got the old crank handle, which, you technically can't use, but we're going to conveniently ignore that. So yeah, it's the second variant of the family. Here's what you're looking at if you're actually, in the vehicle. That's not meant to show through, ignore that. But yeah, pretty nice. I decided to have the roof up when I made this because I thought, change it up from the Mark II family. But yeah, very similar sort of interior design. Mixed up my keys there. But yeah, very similar sort of design wise interior. Let's have a look at the engine. Again, I can't remember the stats of this thing. Stop. There it is, inline 4 once again. Again, can't remember the stats. It's going to be faster, it's going to be better handling, it's going to be, various other things. It's got some noise cancelling out there, noise deafening, muffling, that's the word. As you can tell, I know all about my cars. But yeah, it is faster than the original family. Still only has 4 gears. It has, more horsepower, more torque, something or other. 82 miles an hour is our top speed. Really breaking a sweat with that one. So, yeah, that's the Mark II family. Handles about as well as you'd hope and expect. As you can see, handling is perfectly fine. Can do some donuts probably if you really want to try. Never mind, we can just wheel spin. But yeah, that is the Mark II family. Sold just as well as the original Mark I family. And yeah, by all accounts, it's a decent enough vehicle. However, I prefer the design of the Mark I. So here we are drowning. Yeah, I personally prefer the look of the Mark I, however the Mark II is more modern and up-to-date. It's what the consumer wants, so it's what the consumer gets. The Everyman is the replacement for the Economic, which was the cheap bottom-of-the-line version of the vehicle. As you can see, this one has got a greatly reduced cabin space. It's got, well, technically, it's got extra seating at the back there, but you have to fold it out. Bit of storage there, spare wheel, same sort of engine dealio. I think it's inline 3 as per the previous vehicle. The economic, is that an inline 3 or an inline 4? I cannot tell. But the Everyman is going to be slower than the family. It's got worse acceleration, worse stats generally across the board. We're topping at 70, 71, so motorway speed. What more can you want? It's in the same white and black colour scheme as the economic. Again, same old crank handle. We've got the new bumper bar at the front there. We're going to crash it into this wall. Definitely not as survivable as the family, and that's to do with cost-cutting measures. But hey, we can still technically drive. So, oh, we can even turn. How about that? There you go. Nothing. There you go. No. Yeah. No. No compromise to mobility or driving ability, even if you crash it into a wall at 70 miles an hour. It still works. That's the Phompsonby seal of engineering something or other, I'm sure. But yeah, so that is the Everyman. Cheaper car for the everyday man who just needs something to get to A to B and can't afford to cough up for the more prestigious family. We then have also got the Enterprise, which is the replacement for the commercial. I do believe similar sort of layout, similar sort of style, similar sort of colour scheme. And hey, look at that, it doesn't kill itself when you turn too hard to the left and right. That shows that it's exported correctly. Again, crank handle, which you can actually use technically if this part of the BeamNG bumper wasn't in the way. But yeah, similar sort of deal. Rear flatbed, same colour scheme, black, white and brown. Raised suspension, engine tuned for torque. All of them have got the Phompsonby. They've got the little Phompsonby flying. Well, technically Naboo starfighter, but we're not going to look at that too hard. We're going to say that that is the I don't know. It's just the Phompsonby thing that they have on there. And of course, all of these cars have always got the Phompsonby lettering and the Phompsonby flying logo on the front of their vehicle, which is as per standard. Some of them have also got them on the rear, as you'll have noticed, for example, on this one, the commercial. This tends to get put on in the later years, when cars stop having lettering at the front. Lettering still does get put on the front, as you'll see as we go through the years. But yeah, the lettering on the back is pretty standard otherwise, especially when we get into later years. This starts to become more of the norm. But, oh, that's a nosedive. Yeah, well, it's better built than the Everyman, we can at least say that much. It doesn't still drive, unfortunately. But yeah, so that is the commercial. We're now going to look at probably the best car I've built, providing it is exported correctly. But probably one of the best cars I have built is this thing, which is the Longar. It is essentially a fast sport coupe with extra rear seating, which I have actually got open. It's got a nice cream and blue colouring with a convertible roof lining up there as well. It's inline 4 again, I think, which is the standard sort of Phompsonby make. And yeah, in general, it's just a really, really nice car to drive. It's pretty fast. We're getting up to 84 miles an hour, so again, similar sort of thing to the family. However, yeah, just generally a bit more responsive, bit more responsive, able to drift it around and things, which is pretty cool. There you go, look at that. Wow. But yeah, so it's just, yeah, a pretty nice sports coupe. 1920s-ish looking sport coupe. We can take it on the banking where we had the Power Max roaring around it. So yeah, there you go. Look at it go. Spare wheel. Spare, well, extra storage, which isn't a lot because, well, it's a fast roadster, just a coupe thing. So, yeah, really not too bad of a vehicle at all. If we take it over the jump, how does it do? Ooh, this isn't looking good. Uh-oh. That's one solid piece of cloth. But yeah, so that is the Longstar. It's pretty nice. Pretty decent vehicle. Yeah, just a nice sort of coupe thing to go around in. We have also got the Limousine here, which was built in limited numbers and by request, as far as I can remember me giving the law for this thing. It's a pretty long vehicle. It has got some convertibleness to it, as you can see from the, well, convertible cloth roof. No spare wheel, because it's all nice in shiny dark blue, in this particular model at least. Customers could pick and choose them as they want. Nice big rear storage box, spare wheel, decent headlamps. Yeah, just generally tuned for comfort, I think this was. I don't know how fast it is. It's probably just as fast as the family, because it's probably using a very similar or the same engine as the family. So let's have a look. 82 miles per hour. There you go. They're all sort of hovering around that area, that speed. So yeah, again, fancy little front bumper. Let's thread it through here. Very nice. There's the big looming pyramid. But yeah, generally a highly luxurious vehicle is what the Limousine was. That's what I was going for, at least with it. There you go, bonk. I could be incorrect. I would have to check the wiki for Phompsonby, which I will also leave linked in the description. But yeah, I think around 400 of these were built. I could be wrong though. And then sold to various high-profile, or at least people with money, who could then pick and choose them as they wanted and customize them to their heart's desire. So yeah, this is the Limousine. There you go, splash, nice all the way through there. So yeah, just a luxurious, massively large, well, I say massively large, that'll come later. But yeah, it's just a pretty decent vehicle for luxury driving. That's as much as you could really want. And then we come to, let's have a look here. Bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. That means we're coming to the Standard. Yes. So the Standard is kind of a midpoint, I believe, between the family and the Everyman. I think it is. So it's kind of, yeah, the midpoint, because you have the high luxury Family Mark II, and then you have the Everyman, sort of like the bottom of the barrel. This is kind of a mid-tier vehicle, so it's not as luxurious. Don't know if it's as fast as the family. It might be, or it might be exactly the same. They all sort of hover around here, but yeah, it's kind of generally similar to the family, but not as nice spec, at least in terms of automation when I was building it, I do believe. There's the hand crank. Spare wheel, twin on the side there, just for in case you get into emergencies, you need, you know, puncture repair, whatever. Sort of light bluish colour, which I just thought I'd, you know, experiment with colours, because Phompsonby tends to settle with essentially Phompsonby Racing Green, which is the dark green, as you've seen the Power Max have. And as you've seen me scroll through my vehicles list, Phompsonby does have quite a few dark green vehicles, because it's kind of their signature colour, Phompsonby green. But yeah, I just thought this is kind of a nice sort of light pastel-y blue colour. I thought, you know what, we'll give it a try. It looks pretty nice. The car itself handles relatively fine, relatively decently. Not much more can really be said. It's kind of your mid-range vehicle. The other vehicle, which is, I think, was one of the later vehicles to be introduced before it was then scrapped with the big sad that happened. The Wagoneer, it's a panel wagon type thing. So yeah, it's lots of woody tones, sort of light brown, dark brown on this nice dark blue chassis, which I think is actually it's a pretty decent colour scheme for this, at least. Plenty of storage, at least in the terms of the massive trunk thing at the back here, which, you know, nicely strapped down. Yeah, pretty decent vehicle. Again, twin spare wheel there for you. Yeah, sort of woody brown colours all over it. Let's see about the speed. Is it going to be 82? It's 83, in fact. It's slightly faster. Isn't that swell? So, yeah, again, it uses, again, an inline-4 engine, because that's kind of skimmed, because that's kind of just how things were back in the day for Phompsonby. It was kind of inline-4, inline-3, and then massive engines for the race cars. Oh, land it. We landed it. Nailed it. Nearly. We still go. We still go. Good thing we have those spare wheels, as we look at the mangled shape of them on the side of the vehicle. But yeah, this is, again, like the Longstar, probably one of the better vehicles here. At least in terms of look, I think the Wagoneer looks pretty nice. Looks pretty cool. So, scree into the concrete panels. There you go. Bumpers at most of the impact. That's pretty decent. You could walk away from that. Yeah. A couple of panel beaters. They'll beat it back into shape. It'll be perfectly fine. So yeah, that's the Wagoneer, and that's the last actually of the main vehicles for the 20s. There's one last vehicle which I don't actually have here, but it was essentially the reason for the downfall of Phompsonby. Which would have made it a very important vehicle for me to have here, but I do not have it. It was essentially a massively long version of the Limousine, which had a whole load of new technology. It didn't do particularly well. It cost the company a lot of money. But the big sad happened. London stock market crashed. Wall Street crashed. Everything crashed. Nobody could afford to buy Phompsonby cars. They almost went out of business. However, the one trump card that they have, in the fact that they didn't completely go out of business in the 20s and 30s, at least end of the 20s, was the racing division. And we've got this Green Arrow, which was my attempt at making a sort of semi-sleek looking vehicle in automation with my limited abilities. But yeah, so this is the upgrade to the Power Max. It took half the time to develop. Sounds very quiet. I'm not sure why. But yeah, essentially, it's got a different engine in it. I think this is a V12 by the looks of it. So it's got a bigger engine. I think it's actually got similar or less horsepower. Trying to hear the engine noise, but for some reason it doesn't have engine noise, and I'm not sure why. But yeah, the Green Arrow was essentially the successor to the Power Max. It was meant to fix all the problems the Power Max had and carry Phompsonby through to many, many racing victories. And it was thanks to the Green Arrow that Phompsonby didn't completely go out of business. The racing division essentially kept the company alive, with the Green Arrow performing a lot better than the Power Max, and therefore staying... Oh, we've got puncture. And therefore staying... okay, let's reset that. And it was essentially the success of the Green Arrow in the races that kept Phompsonby going, because of the winning money from winning the races and all of the high-profile events that came with it. So, yeah, the Green Arrow and the racing division can sort of be heralded as the, well, saviours of Phompsonby. The thing that I do like about the Green Arrow is that I do like the exhaust compared to the Power Max. Let's get this thing on the embankment to properly test it out, because yeah, it's oh, come on, there you go. It handles better than the Power Max, but not by a particularly large margin. Not And also, not to mention the fact that the Power Max is a pretty low bar in order to hit to be better than it in handling. But here we go. Onto the embankment. There we go. We're picking up speed now. Let the banking do the work for us, which is always nice to have that. So top speed is slightly higher than the Power Max. Okay, let's get onto the banking. There you go. Slightly higher than the Power Max on 131. Not too bad. Still only 4 gears because that's automation, and it's probably better for it to have low gear numbers. But yeah, there you go. Green Arrow, a lot better than the Power Max. Won more races, was generally more successful. The Power Max did continue to participate in races beside the Green Arrow, I think for like a year or two after this thing was introduced. But then, yeah, this thing sort of kind of smoked it, which meant the Power Max was sent into retirement, which is where it probably should remain. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It does its job. It's a race car in the olden style, and yeah, if I can recover the previously missing file of the missing link for the downfall of Phompsonby, then yeah, I will show that next episode. But for now, this has been the golden age of Phompsonby, or the first golden age, you could say. First golden age, or just pure golden age? Probably pure golden age. It took them a very long while to get back to here, but yeah, this has been the 20s with Phompsonby and the Green Arrow, and let's roll it. Not quite what I wanted to do, but hey, we're sliding to victory. Land it, come on. Come on. No. Driver's dead. So yeah, that is about how Phompsonby ended the decade. Not quite burning, but definitely needing some help. So I'll thank you for watching, and goodbye.